CNN is leaving Tulsi Gabbard out of yet another town hall event, this time right before the New Hampshire Democratic primary election. Let's talk about it. CNN has been absolutely ridiculous. Their behavior towards Tulsi Gabbard is completely and totally inexcusable. And the list really keeps piling up because now they've excluded her from yet another town hall event. The first one they excluded her from was the Iowa caucus town hall, which their excuse for that one was already not really a good excuse. Their excuse was, well, we only want people who are polling at an average of 3% nationally. And then, of course, you then have to ask, well, which polls are you using? Oh, well, we're not going to tell you that. But we know that is just enough that we can let Yang in, but we can't let Tulsi in. Anything to take votes away or potential votes away from Tulsi Gabbard, to take potential attention away from Tulsi Gabbard. And the reason why is she wasn't allowed into that one is because she was at like 2.7% nationally, according to their polling standards, and she didn't make that 3%. She was actually, believe it or not, the only one. She was the only one who was left off the stage that had been polling and had previously made debate stage. Yeah. And the only one who was admitted was Andrew Yang. So in other words, it looked like a clear effort to try and keep Tulsi off the debate stage. So now we fast forward about a week later, and CNN made an announcement today that they will be hosting another town hall. This one will be in New Hampshire right before the New Hampshire primary. They also have decided to exclude Tulsi Gabbard from that one. Oh, now I know a lot of you may be thinking, well, is it because she's not polling at 3% nationally yet? Because that was the criteria they used for the last poll or for the last town hall. Yeah, except for no, we don't actually know why now. Because instead of Tulsi Gabbard, they have decided to do a town hall event before the first open primary election before the first primary election in New England, which will make sense in a second. They've decided, ladies and gentlemen, to allow Deval Patrick have a town hall. Deval Patrick. Half of you all are probably watching this and are like, who the hell is Deval Patrick? Deval Patrick is someone who wasn't even able to qualify to make the ballot in Iowa. Deval Patrick is someone who has never even come close to the donation threshold because he didn't even announce he was running until way too late in the election. Deval Patrick is someone that you've never seen on the debate stage because he never qualified for the debate. Whether you want to talk about the donation thresholds or the polling thresholds, Tulsi has met every single donation threshold. She's just been arbitrarily kept out through random polling thresholds. And then, of course, the last debate she chose to sit out of. So it needs to be understood. They've officially stopped giving a fuck. They're not even trying anymore. I mean, it was pretty bad before. But when you have someone named Deval Patrick, that if I went to my group chat, if I went to go talk to my mother, there are many people, if I want to go talk to the average Iowa or New Hampshire voter, they wouldn't have any damn idea who Deval Patrick is. And he's the former governor of Massachusetts. But a lot of people still would have zero idea who the man is. He's also a consultant for Bain Capital, which is a whole different discussion. Now, most of those people wouldn't know who he is, and that is highly reflected in the polls, considered he's not just at 0%, he's at less than 0%. Whatever the margin of error is for any given poll, that's basically where Deval Patrick is. 0%, and yet he is getting an opportunity for prime time spotlight on CNN before the very first primary election in New England, of course, the area that he is from. I wonder who they're trying to take votes away from. I wonder, by excluding Tulsi Gabbard and including someone polling at 0%, but is the former governor of one of the New England states in an open primary race, I wonder who they're trying to take votes from. I wonder if they're trying to take votes from that candidate who supposedly isn't actually doing well at all. That's what we've been told, right? Tulsi has zero chance. That's what we've been told. But when you're going, why are you so concerned with using such devious methods to keep someone out of the spotlight if that particular person isn't even a threat? That's just really curious to me. It's almost as if they figured out the same thing this week that I told you all about last week when I was going through the Tulsi's path to victory, which is what I said. If she ends up getting even one delegate in Iowa and then ends up making the debate stage for New Hampshire and then ends up doing top 2 or even top 3 in New Hampshire, then all of those quote unquote top tier candidates will all of a sudden be looking at the primary from the bottom. And there will be almost be zero opportunity for them to make it back to the top tier, because after that you have Nevada and South Carolina. South Carolina being an open primary state that Bernie Sanders will likely thrive in. Tulsi will do very well there as well. I think Andrew Yang is going to do decent there. I think Biden is going to do, unfortunately, pretty well there as well. Buttigieg is done in South Carolina. There's no chance for him to do well there. Okay? Warren is just, she's not going to do well in South Carolina either. Like, her first time stepping foot back in South Carolina, seemingly, was for Martin Luther King. Right? So Bernie's going to basically dominate South Carolina, I think. He's definitely going to do well in New Hampshire, definitely going to do well in Iowa, and definitely going to do well in Nevada, as he always does in caucus states. So if Tulsi gets a delegate and then starts facing that upward trajectory because she's going to be back on the debate stage, because people are now paying attention to the primary, because everybody knows that Tulsi is going to kill it in New Hampshire, including the Democrats, then all of a sudden she goes from how could she even possibly win to why the hell have I not heard about her before, and why have the Democrats been working so hard to keep her off the debate stage, and why have the Democrats worked so hard to keep her out of the spotlight. That's what's going to end up happening. The difference is we figured this out, I mean, almost a year ago, but as far as this election is concerned, as far as the upcoming primaries are concerned, I told you all about this last week. I said you will absolutely begin to see measures taken by the DNC to stop Tulsi from doing well in New Hampshire, because that is the one state that actually has pretty damn legit election integrity. That's why Bernie was able to win it so handily against Hillary Clinton in 2016. They are open primary state. That is a very libertarian state. Tulsi does the best amongst libertarians. Tulsi does the best amongst conservatives. Tulsi does the best amongst independents in general. Brenda Von Hert's sister tweeted out a picture where people were raising their hands. A third of that crowd was conservative. You think those are people getting caught in those polls of likely Democratic primary voters? Probably not, right? Another third of that crowd, independents, not registered to a party, and the rest, of course, being Democrats who are registered to a party, but I doubt they're the ones getting called either. She keeps packing houses everywhere she goes. She's put most of her money and her effort in that state. You think that she doesn't know what she's doing? But once again, most importantly, do you think that CNN or MSNBC or the DNC, you think they're not paying attention? Oh, they're paying attention. They're as terrified of Tulsi winning New Hampshire as I said they should have been. And anyone should be able to tell this by now. Wallace West, thanks for the super chat. They think it's still 2004 and 2008 when their biased coverage kept Gravel and Kucinich from catching fire. Thank God for the internet. That is the truth. And we have Tulsi is a brilliant strategist. Copernicus Thinker, thanks for the super chat. Love Tulsi within 2% of Warren and Ver. So ultimately, what I've said is that you will start to see the DNC turn up the heat as she begins to take off in New Hampshire, because of the simple fact that New Hampshire is an open primary state, a state where the demographics highly favor Tulsi. Tulsi has put in a lot of effort there. Tulsi understands how Iowa works, and she knows that there are about 2 candidates who will get a significant amount of delegates there. But why compete for those delegates in a caucus state that are going to be, it's going to be extremely difficult to place top 3 in, especially when you're considering the rigging, which I'm sure she's not ignorant to, when I can literally jump from 5th place to 2nd or 3rd place by merely doing well in the open primary state that has been known to have good election integrity. This is a state that Ron Paul won. This is a state that Bernie Sanders won. This is a state that Donald Trump won. And this will be a state that Tulsi can win or place top 2 in. And she knows it. And if she places top 2 in this state, you know what happens next. There's no keeping her off the debate stage. I keep telling y'all this. That's it for them. There is no, if they tried it, oh bro, it would be hell to pay after that. Now, I will say this though. This is where Bernie has to speak up. This is where Bernie has to speak up, and there should not be a single excuse as to why he cannot. There shouldn't be. I'm not saying go excoriate him for it, but I am saying it would be telling to you are still trying to win the presidency just like Tulsi is. Cool. So what does that mean? It means you need Tulsi Gabbard's potential voters. It means that if Tulsi, for whatever reason, decides to drop out before a particular state, she decides to join up with you before a particular state, you still need the voters of Tulsi Gabbard, because they are not a monolith, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the people that I've talked to that love Tulsi Gabbard, they love her policies, but most importantly, and above all else, they love her fight. They love her spirit. They love her principled stances. They love the values that she lives by, regardless of whether or not it's politically expedient. Now, there are a lot of people who used to like Bernie because they felt that same way. But let's be honest, as much as I love Bernie, that's not Bernie anymore. Not to the degree it was in 2015 to 2016, and damn sure not to the degree it was in the 90s. Good God, that was a whole different Bernie at that point. And so now you're in a position, cool, you didn't want to attack the DNC at a point where things were kind of rocky for you. It wasn't cool, but like at least it was a little more understandable, a little bit. But now there is no ambiguity. There is no question marks. There is no, well, maybe. No, they allowed Deval Patrick to be in a town hall event when Tulsi is oftentimes in New Hampshire polling 4th place or higher, depending on what poll you're looking at. Let's not even talk about all the independents and conservatives she has on her squad out there. There is no ambiguity here. This is a situation where you have to speak up, even if it's for selfish reasons, people. You're not going to be hurt by speaking up for him. The DNC can't do there. What are you going to say, people? Oh, he's being attacked. He's going to be attacked. He's already being attacked. He's already being attacked. He's already being maligned. They've already called him a sexist. They've already have tried to allege that he said a woman couldn't be president. They're already calling him angry. They're already attacking him for Joe Rogan saying that he would vote for him. They're already doing all of this. Hillary Clinton's already come out against him. Obama is considering coming out against him. Joe Biden is already made it clear he does not appreciate the apology by Bernie Sanders and he wants him to take it a step further. You literally have nothing but potential gain from making a principled stance here. Just saying, look, y'all, come on. What's the criteria? How can you keep a presidential candidate off the stage, especially in a state where she's polling much higher than several of the candidates in the state? And then you're going to include Deval Patrick. How do you justify including Andrew Yang and Deval Patrick? Don't get me wrong, I'm saying Andrew Yang because in a lot of polls, Tulsi and Yang poll similarly, or she polls better. So how do you justify keeping Andrew Yang on, keeping Deval Patrick on, for the first time, introducing him to the world right before the first open primary, once again, in New England, coincidentally enough, the area of the country where he was governor, where they think he'll have some type of advantage? How do you justify that? And if you are saying you're going to challenge Democrats where they are at whenever you become the president, this is where you have to speak up. Even if for the sake of strategy. Because I can tell you this, I've been pretty damn good at predicting the things that Donald Trump will say and use as opposition research to attack to attack his opponents, whether it be the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that Trump paid very close attention to how the primary went down last election? And he was smart to do so because he's using it against the Democrats right now during his impeachment testimony. Making it clear, something that we have known for quite some time, which is that this impeachment testimony, yeah, in part is about Donald Trump, but it's mostly from the side of the Democrats who are paying close attention to the primary. It's mostly to stop Bernie Sanders to give Joe Biden a leg up. That's what it's mostly about, if you haven't caught on to that yet. Now, what do you think will happen in the general election because Donald Trump doesn't play by the rules. We've already established this. He will go for your jugular. And when he says, Bernie Sanders can't even stand up for his friends. Bernie Sanders can't even stand up for the people who stood up for him. Bernie Sanders say he's going to challenge the Democratic Party and go to different states and do X, Y, and Z. But he wouldn't even stand up against the Democratic Party for his own friends when the rules were clearly being violated, when ethics were clearly being violated. That's what Donald Trump is going to say. I mean, I hate to break it to people who might have thought otherwise. And if you think that Bernie can finesse his way out of that, Trump is already setting up for it. Why do you think he's been praising Tulsi Gabbard? Why do you think he's been calling out election rigging against Bernie? He knows what's coming up next. He knows he's going to either have to face Bernie or Tulsi. And he also knows that he can't beat any of them in a straight up policy debate. So he's going to make sure it's not about policy. He's going to make sure it's about everything but policy. He's going to go straight for Bernie's character. That consistency that everybody loves to tout will be exposed because you haven't consistently stood on the principle that you're going to defend people against the DNC and that you're going to hold the DNC accountable when you have a chance to do so right now, and you're not doing it because you feel like you have something to lose. What happens when they start holding other policies over your head? That's what he's going to say. I'm telling you, you have to understand how these type of people think. I understand how Trump thinks. He is preempting everything, and he's telegraphing all the moves he's going to make. Why do you think he's been defending Tulsi Gabbard? He's defended Tulsi more than Bernie has. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Trump has defended Tulsi more than Bernie Sanders has. Do you think that that's not something he's going to play on when the general election comes up? Do you think that he's not a stupid politician. He's kind of stupid, but when it comes to marketing, he's a genius. It's his thing. It's his thing. And you can't pretend like it's not. You can't pretend like we don't know. Thanks again for the super chat. Bernie needs to come way out of the box and kick ass. 100% agree. Copernicus Thinker, once again, appreciate the super chat. Bernie needs to stop apologizing and say how good of a friend Warren and Biden is and lead us instead. 100% agree. 100% agree. Glory. What? Blasphemy. That is blasphemy. Oh my God. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy of the highest order. It's crazy. She's talking about Jimmy Butler, just in case y'all curious. Man, why the world stay hating? Man, it's like Jimmy Butler is like the Tulsi of the NBA. They stay blaming Jimmy Butler for everything that goes wrong with every team and never giving him credit for what goes right, forgetting that every team that he's on is an instant playoff team. Every team that he leads immediately has problems. The last three teams, 2 out of 3 just did not make the playoffs after that. That's a whole different discussion. But it's like they treat Tulsi like they treat Jimmy Butler, right? But yeah, man. We just can't keep pretending like we don't know who Donald Trump is. We know who Donald Trump is, bro. Bernie's advisors' bad advice reminds me of the same when I volunteered for Mike Dukakis in '88. Man, he does have some pretty bad advisors. He got Nina, which is great. He has Bree, but Bree is more like a microphone for the campaign, not necessarily an advisor. Ro Khanna, however, which is the other campaign chair, is absolutely just not really good at giving advice. Bad political instincts. So we have 2 options right now. We can ask Bernie to do the right thing, or we can pretend like this isn't going to affect him in the general election. when I'm telling you right now? I mean, you can take a gamble. You can take a gamble and assume that I'm wrong. But if you've been watching this channel for quite some time, you know that it's not a gamble you want to take, because especially when it comes to issues with Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard, we are definitely right more than we're wrong. This will be used against him. Everything now for Bernie, he has to think, how could this be used against me when I run against Donald Trump? Because he is that far ahead. Like, there's no denying that shit. There's no denying that. He's that far ahead. So now every issue is, can this be used against me when I face Donald Trump in 2020? And this is one of those issues that Trump is paying attention to. Because Trump is paying attention to Tulsi. He's made it clear. He's also paying attention to Bernie. He's made it clear. And he's paying attention to how the DNC moves. And when Trump starts to challenge the character, the principles of Bernie, when he says he's a fighter and he's going to fight, and he's like, bro, you can't even fight for your friends. You apologize to Joe Biden, but you can't speak up for as far as that is concerned. You can't beat Trump with Republicans bad. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it shouldn't work. You should be able to beat Trump on not only your policies, but your principles and the perceived conviction to carry out your policies and, and fight the good fight to make sure it happens. That's how I feel. Bernie's a great guy, but he really, really has to start speaking up for these things. Like I said, even if just for strategic purposes. Just let Jane run Bernie's campaign and it'll be a landslide. Man, you have no idea how true that is. If Jane and Levy, his son, ran his campaign, it would be it would look different. It would. It would maintain a lot of its luster, but it would be a fighter's campaign, like the 2016 campaign on steroids. Peace. Oh, hold on, we gotta. Oh, see, I caught it, Maddie. I caught it. Niko, do you know there's a lot of crackling noise? Nobody said anything about it, but I'll check it out. Thanks for letting me know. Appreciate it, Maddie. All right, people. Peace. As it always does, you can download the Rockfin app. Really, anything helps. Other than that,